before we head down to Rockville, I'm just going back in the day when we used to get Toasty chocolate bars, Toasties they were called. And I bought this one the other day, and it's called a Jumbo Toasty. And but I just remember back in the day when you went to the pictures or something, they were this big. And they had a bit of coconut in them with a bit of marshmallow in the middle and covered in chocolate. And they were delicious. And they were up there with the Buzz Bars. Remember Buzz Bars? They had a bit of caramel in the top. And I really liked those when they were frozen Buzz Bars. They were amazing. But anyway, I just saw this Toasty bar and thinking, well, nothing's changed. They said they got bigger, but it must have got smaller at some stage to call it a jumbo. But it was like that back in the day. Amazing. Just as a reminder, we're doing our annual old truck tour in November. We leave Auckland on the 6th of November and we leave Nelson on the 20th of November. So if you'd like to come along, there's my email address, or send me a text, or just go to the Facebook page that says Bill Hohepper's 2021 Old Truck Tour, and all the information is there. But it's filling up fast. I think I've got 6 spaces left, so if you're thinking of coming, maybe now's the time to get a hold of me. Anyway, let's head off to Rockville. I'm near Collingwood, and Collingwood's at the top of the South Island, and behind me is a collection of trucks from the area, and in the building here we've got a museum full of all sorts of historic machinery from the Takaka and Collingwood area. And there's a couple of old RL Bedfords behind me that went up the old sand spit with the tours and things like that. But we're going to talk to a few of the people here about these trucks, and in particular they've got an old 1951 white, which are very interesting. And you might remember this Ford. We did a story on a Ford very similar to this one, the old F100. We'll find out who owns that. This looks absolutely brilliant, original condition. And around the corner at the back there we've got a very nice International, probably about 1961 thereabouts, to look at as well. So let's sit down, relax, and enjoy some of these trucks at Collingwood. So what we're going to do is we'll start with the TM Bedford down the back that belongs to old Herb. So we'll see if we can find Herb. Herb, back in the day I used to drive one of these things, but prior to that it was the TK Bedford, and earlier than that was TM. But they're all that same Bedford.
No, this is a TM.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, it was a KM I was talking about.
Yeah,
with the two
K.
big steel bumpers, you know.
Yeah.
And then they completely changed everything, and this came.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Fabricated. Put together with bits from here, spicer gearboxes and all this sort of stuff. But this one's a bit customised.
Oh, okay. And I think they had an English copy or the GM in them, didn't they? The 6-cylinder GM.
This is a 6V71.
Yeah, right.
This one.
Yeah. So it's a Detroit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Two-stroke.
And they had that lovely sound.
Yeah.
That people like to listen to.
Yeah.
But
I'm famous for that. But they don't say we saw you. They say we heard you.
We heard you coming over the hill, and then you disappeared. Then we heard you again as you come back into. Yeah, Uncle Harry used to say that about his his R190s. He's about 30 miles away. His wife could hear him come up over the top of some hill or other with his logs and hear this thing screaming its head off.
Yeah.
So what do you do with this?
A car to dig around.
Oh, okay.
And deliver gravel.
Oh, okay. So she's you're a contractor.
Truck. Yeah. With inverted commas. Yeah.
So these came out about 79, 78, around that period.
Yeah, 77.
Is that what it says on the sticker?
This one is.
Well, this must be one of the first ones into the country.
Probably.
Yeah. Probably the first one off the line, even.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been.
And it was still Bedford back then. I think Bedford was still building things under the name of Bedford.
Yeah.
And but there's no Bedfords anymore. They've all gone by the by.
Isuzu sort of swallowed.
Yeah. And in fact, there's nothing in England apart from Dennis. It's the only truck that's made in England these days.
They're right.
Everything else, English, Leylands, Commons, all those have all gone.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
And so you enjoy this? You like getting up in the morning and think, shit, I can drive my truck again today.
Do I have to climb up and do that bloody thing again?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I do. I've developed an affection for the old girl, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so let's have a look in the cab if we can. And there she is.
In all her glory.
Well, they had, I'm a big guy, and there's a lot of room in there, you know, just unlike some of the previous, like the TK, some of the was very short seats and very low windscreen. Once you're in there, then you had to duck your head for the rest of the day to see where you were going.
Yeah.
But plenty of room, and they've sort of, you know, got it right. But I see that she's
Been stripped.
and a little bit of rust here and there. But we've got to remember, it's, you know, it's nearly 30 years old, of course.
That's right.
Yeah, probably over.
Yeah, over 30.
Yeah. So she's still performing a day's work, and I just look in there and think, well, that takes me right back to
Right.
the late 70s when I actually drove one for foodstuffs. Yeah, no, awesome.
Hop in.
Yes, thanks. And the narrow of the cab was just a little step out there, just made it
the
just
next model came, they built them out.
yes,
Remember that? They used the full width
yes, that's right.
of the earlier one.
Yeah. Oh, everything where it should be. Look at that. Great visibility. Yeah, they thought about it.
Yeah. They didn't supply earmuffs, but
Why would you want air muffs when you've got a lovely Detroit to listen to
That's right.
all day long? Yeah. And access was very, very good with the good step up. Awesome. Well, thanks very much, Herb. Wherever you are.
you're welcome.
Great. Excellent. Can you start her up? We hear it go.
Yeah, we can give her.
Kick her in the guts, as it were.
Just going to start her up for you. You're going to earmuffs on.
Very nice. That was lovely. Awesome. I've seen, I think, two of these, one in Auckland and one in Whakatane. And plenty of photographs from the old days, and they've got logs, they've got all sorts of things on the back of them. I see this one's right-hand drive.
Yep.
And so perhaps tell us a little bit about it.
Well, actually, Bill, I bought it in Perth. I had a drill rig I was using in Western Australia, and I needed a truck to cart it round. I went to Perth, and my brother-in-law at the time from Whangarei was over there.
So you didn't have a lot of money and this is all you could get?
Well, we looked at a few other trucks, but it's the one I liked the most.
Of course you did.
And being Western Australia, you just buy a truck and trailer and hook them together and drive out there, no logbook, and you can start working, you know, not too much bureaucracy out the bush in Western Australia.
No.
And I used it for 7 years over there, and when I decided to come back home here, I put a sea container on the trailer and drove it to Melbourne and got it off at Nelson off the Rotomar, the drive-on boat, and I've had it here. I've done a few little jobs with it, but basically now it's just a boy's toy, I guess you'd call it.
Okay, yeah, well, there's lots of those in the country, the boys' toys. What year is it?
1951, we think. It's
Oh,
a bit
okay.
hard to...
Sure.
I mean, you probably might have more idea than me,
Yeah.
but as far as I can work out, yeah, about 1951.
But in its time, this is one of the big boys.
Yeah, in its time, it was, you know, probably a big
Big
banger.
machine. Can we look at the engine?
Yeah, sure. It's a Detroit diesel, 6V53. It would have had a petrol motor in it when it was made.
Yeah.
And these are, you know, a Detroit two-stroke diesel. Just out of interest, General Motors formed what they called the General Motors Engine Division in 1937 and started building these, what we call modular motors. It was the 71 series, 71 cubic inches per cylinder, and you could get a 1-cylinder, 2, 3, 4 or a 6 inline motor. In 44 they produced 62,000 of them, and they went into tanks, and some of the tanks had 2 side by side going into a common transmission, and landing craft and whatever, supercharged 2-stroke diesel. In about 58 they started making the 53 series. This is 53 cubic inch per cylinder. This is a 6V53. It's a V formation, 6-cylinder, 53 cubic inches per cylinder. And the original company, this GM engine division, is GME, and that's where the people call them Jimmies.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where that came from.
The GME, so say that 10 times quicker, it becomes Jimmy.
Yeah, that's right. And they changed the name to Detroit Diesel in 1965, I think.
Oh, okay.
And it's got a Road Ranger gearbox in it now, 13-speed Road Ranger. So it's quite a practical truck. It did have a 7-to-1 diff ratio, but what they call the 50-mile-an-hour diff. It was pretty slow, and so I managed to get a 5-to-1 diff ratio for it. So now it's really, quite a practical truck actually.
You can keep up with everything else on the road, more or less.
Yeah. I mean, it'll run along at 90 k's now,
Sure.
which,
I'm just looking at the general shape of this thing with that rounded sort of a door, and I can just see where that's gone on. It's to the next model, sort of the 56, 58, 59 model.
I think same cab. Then they end up with a different shaped back window, I think. It didn't have that sort of sad-looking back window.
And they sort of went to that, the R190 shape of cab, like the one that's...
I know the R190s.
Yeah.
I mean, this cab, I think, on whites went from 47 to almost 58 or something.
Yes.
The cab, bonnet different other changes.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah.
And speaking of cabs, let's have a look.
Yeah, it's sort of been a bit modified in there. It wouldn't have had so many gauges, but I was using it in Western Australia.
Sure, yeah. But as a working truck, you've got to keep up to date with everything else. So you've got to have the air for the trailers. You've got to have, all the different aspects. But is the dashboard basically honest?
This part I've had extra gauges put in there, and with the Detroit, you actually got an engine temperature gauge that is sort of quite important because they can get, so you know where you are. But it's had all the extra gauges and stuff put in there, and especially in Western Australia, I've actually got 2 temperature gauges and the exhaust temperature gauge. So there's 3 temperature gauges. But,
sure. I like the way it's got a universal sort of halfway down the steering, and it goes off to the right.
Yeah, it comes off down to the steering box here, and another universal there. Yeah, she's Armstrong steering though, Bill.
No, I know, but just sort of somebody must have thought, shit, steering.
Yeah.
Where do you put that?
Yeah.
sort of found a place for it and done a few kinks to make it work. Amazing. Oh well, we'll probably have to hear this go as well.
Yeah, I hope it does, Bill.
Oh, okay. There's enough people here to push it. Or does it live here most of the time?
I live just down the road, yeah. No, it doesn't live at the museum here, no. But probably much the same as Habs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I like the running board, and back in the time, the guys would have been standing on here with their boots in there. Yeah.
Looking out the back.
That's the one, yeah. And you could probably stand out here with your boot in there and try and keep cool with you. Going up one of those bloody hills in the old days with,
Probably
2
in
miles
Western
an hour.
Australia you got out there to keep cool.
And some of the trucks we've seen have actually got the door off. And that one, they sit on the back just to keep a bit of cool going,
Well, over there they used to get the scrub on the side of the road and fill it up with branches and leaves and leave the window down, and sort of evaporative air conditioner effect.
Oh, okay. Somebody's always thinking about something, the mind's going the whole time. Yeah, she's a beauty.
But yeah.
Does it go?
Huh?
We'll probably be able to get it going up and down the road for a bit.
Yeah.
We're at the other end of the afternoon tea.
Okay. Well, some of the guys might want to be going, so maybe have a convoy.
That's the one. Good idea. Isn't that fantastic? Bit of history there. And
How are you recording? How are you recording?
On Saturday, November the 6th, we leave for another Bill Hohepa Old Truck Tour of New Zealand. We leave from Auckland and make our way to Wellington, cross over on the ferry to the South Island and continue down all the way to Richardson's Museum in Invercargill. Then we travel up the coast all the way to Wakefield and on to Rockville. All this and looking at old trucks as we go, as well as seeing a fair bit of New Zealand. We have 12 places available and people will travel by minibus. So if you have an ex-truck driving dad or granddad or somebody you know, maybe this special trucking holiday treat will be just the ticket. Maybe a Father's Day surprise. If you'd like to find out more, just go to my Facebook page, Bill Hohepa's 2021 Old Truck Tour, and all the details are there. Or just email me at billhohepa@extra.co.nz. What I've got here is a copy of Talking Trucks. This is a book I wrote a couple of years ago, and it's the history of New Zealand trucking. And it's all from the programs that I did between 2013 and 2016. I'm going to let this go for $25. So it's a special. So Father's Day's coming up. So if you'd like your copy, there's my phone number, 027 277 0717. Just send me a text. Or email me, billhohepa@extra.co.nz to get your copy. $25 and the history of New Zealand trucks. Red, welcome to the show.
Pleased to meet you, Bill.
And you've got this S-line, is this a fiberglass?
Yeah, she's fiberglass, mate.
Yeah. Well, I took it here to haul the whole thing over.
Yeah.
1983, great
1983,
year.
yes.
And you're still working it?
Yeah, no, she still works local around the town here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So what are
keeps
you-
pretty busy.
just carting metal, that's
Just
all?
general gravel. Do a bit of silage in the silage season, but for silage contractors.
Yeah.
Does most of the work for solids, bit of my own stuff, kind of here and there, but in general, she's just spends a lot of time parked up, actually. She's
Oh, okay.
kind of a bit like a baby to me now.
Sure, so it's become a toy.
She is a toy, yeah, that's about it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there was one of these on our south run.
Oh, right, yep.
And they look fantastic.
They do. They got a bit of class, I think, the old girls.
Yep. And the one we were looking at, the gear stick went from about there to about here.
Yeah, one side to the other.
Yours pretty tight.
Oh, yeah, she's quite tight, yeah.
What's the engine in it?
She's got a 350 big cam, Series 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what she came out with. Yeah, no, she goes good, the old girl. Yeah.
So look in that can. Back in the day,
Yeah.
like this thing next door here,
Yes.
you sort of lift up the
Yep.
butterflies and sort of take everything off, and then you're sort of standing on your head to try and get into the engine. But then suddenly got smart.
Yeah.
And all this
Pulling
just
forward.
lifts up and you get in it, add it over it. No worries at all.
No, they're good. Plenty of access.
Yes. Now that's really modern, isn't it? A bit like this TM beside
Yeah.
us. You know, she's probably 10 years more younger than that
Yep.
one, but it just looks very practical.
They are.
They thought about the driver,
did.
angle of the steering wheel.
Exactly.
Excellent. Yeah. Have you always driven a bonneted truck?
No, I used to have an old couple of cab overs and bits and pieces, flat nose. Before this one, an old Leyland Boxer, TK Bedford.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah. So when you think about the access into the bonneted ones,
Yep.
it seems to be a lot easier because of the fuel
Yes.
tank where it
Yep,
is.
right there.
And they've actually cut this out.
Yeah, cutaway portion.
Yeah. We looked. There was a guy in Matamata, a young panel beater,
Yes.
and he's rebuilt one off a rusty,
Yep.
off a 105, I think it was.
Oh, righto.
Yeah, or 110 or something. But anyway, he's had to rebuild it because of
Yep.
all the holes. But
Yep.
the way they've sort of purposely put in the step,
Yep.
so easy access. And so let's watch it jump up in there, just bang, bang, bang. Look at that. What could be easier than that? Now, when you think of the cab overs, like the big sort of freight liners and
Yep.
trucks that they have today, you've got to climb up around about the
Yeah.
back of the cab,
Couple
then you've got to
steps.
shuffle across.
Yeah. That's nice and simple and easy, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah. And the seating, even the seating's
Yep.
got flash.
No.
Back in those, the Leyland
Yeah.
days,
Yeah, bounce.
got this rock to sit on. And what the wheel does, you do.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So it must be great to sort of, even though it's 1983, even
Yep.
that's got 83, 93, 203, that's
Yep.
25 years old, 26
Exactly.
years old, still doing a day's work.
She still does a day's work.
Yeah, how many million miles has it done?
She's actually just clocked the million. She's just done 496 over the million. So, yeah, no, she's good.
Excellent.
So we just the other day, Solly's had it doing some work. One of their lady drivers was driving it. She reckoned she doesn't want to hop back in her Nissan again. She wanted to stay in this.
Fair enough. And why do they call it Big Bad Red?
Well, I don't know. I think it's just the colour, and
Oh,
I get
okay.
cold blue and red and all
That's nothing to
sorts.
do with
So.
your complexion or
No, probably. I think it might have had a little bit to do with it, but
Good on you.
just quite appropriate, I think.
Yeah, good to talk to you. Well, there you go, folks. Great example of the old S-line. In Motueka, there's a man who, George, I think his name is.
George Sturgis, yeah.
That's it. And he's got a collection of these things, probably the KMs more than what this one is, the TK.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot about these things while I was talking to George.
Right.
I didn't realise that there was a difference in the seat,
Yep.
between the
Short one and the long one.
the short one and the long one, and
Yep.
that's sort of just come about one day. They decided, I guess people must have been complaining about sitting like this and nowhere to go, and so they Bedford people, oh well, we'll push something forward. But when you look at them, there's no difference.
No difference, they just shift
No.
it back a bit.
Yeah.
Back a bit.
Let's get it out of the wind a bit. But looking in this cab, what year is this?
75.
Yeah. Things have improved a bit. I think they came out sort of early 60s, and they didn't change. It's probably the longest cab of all the trucks.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
without any cosmetic changes, and
Yeah.
they put this here, but put this there.
Pretty basic.
But basically, the cabs stayed the same. And if I get up in here, if I can.
That's not a lot of room, is it?
Well, there's more. My guts is behind the steering wheel, which is good. And there's probably about 3 inches there. But the thing about this is I can see, but this roof is sort of hitting the top of my head. And so if I got the job, here I am sitting in the truck and I'm banging my bloody head and everything is good. But I would put up with it. You sort of get used to it. So you probably just drive along a bit with it leaning over a wee bit or something like that. But you would get used to it. So the Poms couldn't have been very big people, although you see long ones. So big guys, when they build trucks, they probably don't really think about great big Maoris down in New Zealand are going to drive these things, But everything about this is where it should be. And I'll just get out again. But what we all thought at the time was the little short gear stick. That was just so racy.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo,
Felt good.
Yeah. So it's just got how many gears in this job?
Just the 5 and a 2-speed back in.
Oh, okay, very good. Got an Eaton on it. Oh, yeah. That old Eaton diff is electric.
Electric.
And I left it more or less after the electrics and went and did fishing. But they tell me that there was an air shift after so it started off with a vacuum
Yeah.
and then went to electric and then they went to an air shift
Right, okay.
after, and then no more Eaton. They came into the road rangers and all those sorts of gearboxes. But a lot of people remember the old Eaton. And so did I, but if you missed it, you can embarrass yourself.
Yeah. It doesn't sound good, does it? Doesn't sound good.
No. And so what do you do with this?
But just a farm track, it just runs between 2 farms, just to
Oh,
cut in a
okay.
bit of hay, silage,
Yeah.
stock. Yeah.
Right.
A little bigger on it sometimes. So
Oh, okay. So you got a stock crate somewhere,
Yeah,
and just
stock crate,
load it
yeah.
up back under it, lock it down, and
Yeah.
away you go. Yeah. No, she's good to see it still working.
still goes.
Yeah.
Still doing the job.
Later on, folks, we'll hopefully get all these trucks and we can get them all for a bit of a convoy down the road. It'll look good. Excellent. Well, thanks very much.
Okay.
Yes. Awesome. There you go, folks. The old TK, still doing it. Daniel, we've seen a few of these in our travels. I know there's a good one down in the bottom of the South Island. There's a couple up the north, but this will be different. And the reason it's different because it's, you know, when we see it up to the others, the bonnet's about here. This stands up about another foot. And maybe if you've got bigger tyres on is that what's the reason? You raised it somehow?
Well, they were all on it when I got it, but I think they're just slightly bigger because they're easier to get hold of.
Oh, okay, so you got 900s instead of 850s.
Yeah, something like that.
Hence the height.
It probably wouldn't make a lot of difference.
Well, it makes the truck look awesome. You know, it's just so, wow, look at this thing, you know, coming along. What year is it?
64.
1964. The wrap round windscreen, that's really fresh, and I think these come from, it was the AB 160 series. It comes from Australia. Yeah, Australia. And it's just the 1960s, the wrap round windscreens, the sort of the super doors. You know, it just looks a flash truck. And what's really flash about it is there's only so many ways you can put a headlight. So some of them have one, some have two, some of them are that way. But there's not very many that you can probably count them on your left hand that have got a sloping set of headlights.
Something different.
Something absolutely different, yeah. International, all little block letters all the way across. Just making these little things, just these little things like that. It just makes the truck stand out from the pack, you know. It's just very well presented. It's just lovely. Can you jump in? The cab overs, you got to climb up the bloody side of them. These is a step you're in, you know. And then when the Poms sort of come up with the idea, they actually built a truck called an ergomatic, was where they did think about the driver, nice and low, easy to get in and out of. And then for some reason they went away from that and started climbing the bloody mountain again. So the bonneted trucks, lovely, easy to get in and out of, and International, I think, thought about driver comfort. Nice springy seats. Big steering wheel. Is it power steering?
No.
So I haven't quite got there yet. Then lovely big pedals and plenty. It's your tipper.
Yeah.
Right, so I see your Eaton button is just taped there. Is that where it's comfortable for you?
Yeah, it seems good.
Yeah, awesome. Is there anything about this truck that you especially like, or any sort of time you've sort of got yourself and think, oh shit, hope she gets out of this?
Brakes is the biggest issue.
Oh, really?
It runs out of vacuum rather easily.
Oh, okay. Is the vacuum wipers?
No.
Oh, okay. So nothing worse than that.
No, it's just vacuum for the brakes is the.
That's the. Oh, okay. So what's wrong with that? Is that sort of it's just tired?
I just haven't mastered the gearbox properly. I think.
Oh, okay.
You sit on the brake pedal too long, they go away.
Fair enough. So you've got a bloody big hill to come up and down here on your Collingwood. You've got that Taka hill to go up and down, so that must be a bit of a trial for the old girl.
Yeah, no, it gets along all right though. So.
Yeah. So when people, do you get stopped? I mean, you pull up and go to get a pie or something, you know, out of this thing. How many guys would come up, gee, I remember them?
Yeah, it has happened occasionally. So. No, there can't be that many on the road. So.
No, I'd say you count them on your left hand. No, she's a beauty. And you carry a bully, as you say. You're a contractor.
No, it's just all toys.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Awesome. Oh, well, I got to say she's a great example, and it's good to see that you, how old are you?
30.
You're probably the youngest guy that drives one of these things that we've actually met. Most of the guys have got coloured hairs like mine and a few wrinkles, but you know, congratulations. I think it's great to see a young guy like you sort of in the old gear and doing that sort of thing, and it's great to see that happening. Not many of you around, I can tell you. So thanks very much.
No worries.
That's just marvellous. So there you go, folks. What a great example of the old AB International.